Rated M for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect those of the PFC Entertainment Network or any of the affiliates that make this show possible.
This is the Pure Fury Creations Entertainment Network.
If it's in the headlines, on the first page or the last, it's fair game here on the Sports Reel Podcast.
And we welcome you to the real reason why Tuesdays were invented. Welcome to the Sports Reel Podcast, live on the PFC Entertainment Network. And we're running into it's been a thing trying to get on the air here tonight. And for whatever reason, Facebook is not cooperating, but we are live on Riverside.fm and the PFC Entertainment Network YouTube channel. We do apologize for the inconvenience, for the delay. Tim Sheridan, Eric Mendel, good to see you guys. We do have a very special guest that's going to be joining us here tonight. Tim, would you like to do the honors?
Yes, I would. We have Eric Newton from Clueless Sports Dad. So, Eric, I've been seeing your content here for a little while. We linked up a while ago, and this has been in the works for, a minute to actually get you on here. And, of course, it's been a minute. We're about 46 minutes now after the time that we were supposed to start. But, shit happens, and we are live now, so that's all that matters. So, Eric, tell us a little bit about yourself and where people can find you.
Well, I'm a former Marine. Well, there is no such thing as former Marines, but I'm a retired Marine. And I used to coach football, and now I run a sports podcast, the Clueless Sports Dad. That's sports with a Z at the end. And you can find me on all social medias, YouTube channel, and so forth. Thanks for having me in, though, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you for hanging out with me there for a little bit till we can get this shit figured out. It was a minute to get here, but we are here. Other than that, Eric, how have you been? I haven't seen your ass since Sunday, so it's a pleasure to have you back in the house and see that shiny ass head after you shaved it once again to try to look like Jason.
It's not hard, but I'm not bad. Just been a weird week at work so far, just trying to get through it and trying to find the motivation to still do what I do and all that. But hey, we all have problems, we all have issues. Happy to be here. I want to say though, Eric, thank you for your service. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jason, brother, we got a lot to talk about this week. I'd go into how I've been lately, but I had a pretty damn good weekend. Other than that, it was pretty solid. I'm just excited to be here back on the air here with the Sports Reel Podcast. The real reason why Tuesdays were invented. So, Jason, you want to lead off with a little bit of MLB action?
Absolutely. And, man, you talk about MLB, you have to be talking about the Detroit Tigers right now because these guys are coming out of another successful week. When you look at what they've been doing on the field, and now we're coming up to this week, and it's not going to be an easy stretch by any stretch of the imagination. But when you look and see what they did last week, man, Eric, you went and said they were going to go 6-0 last week. They came close. It went 4-2. The only stumbling blocks came last Wednesday, 42 loss against the Mariners. And then on Friday, they lost 5-2 to the Giants. But other than that, man, the Tigers were on a roll, beating the Mariners 8-0 on Tuesday, and then again 11-0 on Thursday. San Francisco very much the similar thing with an 8-0 win on Saturday, 3-1 win on Sunday, and now they start this very important part of the schedule. 2 back-to-back divisional opponents with the Cleveland Guardians, the Chicago White Sox. It starts here tonight with the Indians or with the Guardians, and then next week they're going to start a interleague series with the Pittsburgh Pirates. But man, so much hope. There's so much good coming out of Comerica Park right now, and a lot of anticipation. The Tigers are now within 1 game of the wild card if the playoffs were to start here today. Man, when you talk about some of the hottest teams in baseball right now from June 1st, like there's the Boston Red Sox, and then there is the Detroit Tigers. So it's been a fun ride this part of the season. How much have you been paying attention to this, Eric?
I've been paying attention more to it since they've been playing a lot better and all that. And there's a lot of different now that Scooble's gone, even though I, heard a clip of him, I think last week, saying how, he hopes November the Tigers are coming around for negotiations to try to get him back and all that. So I was very curious to hear him say that after being traded, but just hoping they can keep this rolling. And, you got a tough series against the Guardian. You have not beat them this year at all yet. So that's going to be a tough one to get into. And then the White Sox are playing hot. So hopefully they can keep this momentum going and get that wild card spot.
This is they're going to have a real huge opportunity to start separating themselves in the AL Central. And Cleveland especially has been kind of hit and miss, but we've sat here for weeks now and talked about this resurgence with the White Sox and how nobody expected them to be where they are right here. So this, going back to back against the divisional rivals like that is really going to be it sets it up perfectly to finally start to have some sort of separation within the AL Central. The thing that kind of tickled me more than anything, Tim, was we spent so much time in the months leading up to last week with Tarek Skubal being traded to the Dodgers, and then that was followed up by Casey Mize being traded to the San Diego Padres. Neither one of them has done jack shit yet, and in fact, Skubal gave up a home run in his first outing as a Dodger in a losing effort. I think I saw a graphic that the Dodgers at one point going into this week were like 1-5 since the trade, and the Tigers went 5-1. Same thing can be said about Casey Mize. So it's kind of poetic humor to me, if I can be honest with you. What's your takeaway, Tim?
Well, 100%. I think I saw a similar graphic to that. I think since he's gone to the Dodgers, he's thrown about a 4.07 ERA, which is not that good in the bigs, because I think we have Melton, who's like at a sub 1. I mean, he's at like a 0.26 ERA since Skubal has left. But I think the trade is working out. But the surprising part is that they're still going. I mean, I was looking up stats. They're 3.5 games back out of the Central currently right now, with a lot of baseball left to play. So they're still very much in this thing. A game and a half back out of the wild card spot, like you said. But the Rays are kind of running away with this thing. I think they're quite a bit back, out of the American League. But speaking of the American League, we were talking to Eric before the show started, and he happened to say he was a Yankees fan. So I'd like a little Yankees perspective when it comes to the American League right now, because they're still kind of up there, you know what I mean? And I think the battle's going to come between maybe them and the Red Sox throughout this, unless the Tigers can continue this run and possibly sneak their way into the American League postseason and make a run at this thing this year. But Eric, Yankees fan, you're not the first one we've had on the show, so don't get too excited, because we've had a couple of them, and we respect you all. You know what I mean? We may not like the Yankees, but we respect the fans.
Okay, I'm here to spice this up a little bit for you Detroit fans, okay?
Let's do it.
And unless you're winning this division, you're not making the playoffs. You're not going in. You're not beating anybody in the wild cards to get into the wild card spots. Maybe Minnesota, but then again, you'd still have to beat them. If you go above them, you're possibly still looking at the division standings, right? Or you're looking at the division standings, you're possibly going to catch the White Sox. I believe you have a better chance of catching them than getting the wild card spot. As far as the Yankees go, they're going to be getting red hot here pretty soon, I believe. I really think they are. They've got a new guy. Excuse me. They got a new guy in George Lombard Jr. I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch him play. He's been kind of electric, bringing that spark to the shortstop position for the Yankees that they've been kind of lacking. Now, the key components here for me, you've got 3 guys that are injured for the Yankees that are possibly coming back. Aaron Judge already said this week that he does not see a reason why he wouldn't be back. I know he's getting in some light stuff going. Stanton's already been doing a lot of stuff. Now, granted, I think this has got to be his last year for the Yankees. I just don't see the production there anymore, the constant injuries and stuff like that. But, you get him in the late August return, along with Cody Bellinger as well, which Aaron Boone has said those 2 guys will be back before Judge. I think the Yankees make a big-time push for not only that top wild card spot as they're in right now as it looks, but also taking that division as well. One thing of note, though, I will say this. I'm not a huge Aaron Boone fan. I really have never been. I know he's gotten them to all the way, but I was more of that Joe Girardi type guy. That was my guy. I can't believe they still got rid of him a long time ago as a manager. But going back to this, I think for Detroit, I do like them actually winning the division rather than trying to get a wild card spot. I think according to the standings, what I'm looking at here, I haven't really been following them like you guys have, but they've been 7-3 in the last 10 games, 1-2 in a row. That's great. I love that. While Chicago's kind of done what the Yankees have done. They went 5-5 in the last 10 games. So they're going backwards. Minnesota too, 4-6. I mean, so like you guys were talking about, Detroit has that momentum rolling. So I would like to see Detroit beat Minnesota. I lived in Minnesota for 2 years. I hate the Twins. Absolutely hate them. Hate everything about Minnesota. Vikings, Twins, you name it. I only liked one guy ever for the Chicago White Sox, and that was the Big Hurt back in the day.
Oh, Frank Thomas.
Frank Thomas. So love that guy. But everybody else, Cleveland, KC, I hate every Kansas City team out there.
Hey now,
Tim. Yeah, I'm bringing that kind of juice today, baby. Let's go.
I get shit every week on this show for it, so I'm used to it.
Yes,
but
and you guys, just real quick, you guys want to talk about schedule? I mean, the Yankees have got it's a tough schedule ahead of them, but you come out of this schedule a winner, you're winning that division.
Oh yeah, 100%. And the one thing I always say with baseball, like baseball is so hard to call because it's who gets hot at the right time, and that's what really matters. You know what I mean? We saw it last year with Seattle. You know what I mean? Getting hot at the right time and carrying through. Like Detroit, we were hot last year at the beginning of the season, then fell off, and we kind of went deeper in the postseason last year. So I'm kind of excited about how they've kind of switched it up this year, and they were shit through the first half of the season, and now they're getting hot now where they can make a run at it. And I do think it's a realistic thing that they could take this division. I think the White Sox are going to start slowing down. They've been hot most of the year. They're due for a little bit of a fizzle phase, and like Detroit getting hot at the right time, that is important. So can they carry it through some of, that veteran aspects of playing in some of these games, because it is a very young team, especially since we just traded away some of our best pitchers. It's hard to tell, but if we can make it a little bit farther in the playoffs this year, I'd be super excited as long as they can make it to the playoffs. Jason, you got any input on this? Because I know you're our MLB guy, and where the Yankees stand. I know the Red Sox are hot, and I'm interested in a second to talk to Eric about how he feels about the Red Sox, because I know Yankees fans usually don't get along with those guys. But yeah, the Red Sox have been red hot this year. So, and then we still got to worry about what's that?
It took Boston a minute to catch fire. But while we have been sitting here paying attention to the Yankees and to the Red Sox, because we saw Boston residing in the basement for a hot minute, and then they went on this amazing 15-game winning streak, and now here they are. I mean, now on the heels of the Yankees. Meanwhile, the Tampa Bay Rays are the ones sitting on top, winners of 7 in a row, 8-2 out of their last 10, and we have said Tampa Bay is a good team, but they're in a division that's with the marquee teams of New York and Boston. Now, Boston being on this run, on this momentum, and it does have the Yankee fans that I do know, that I do work with, Boston has always been a source of contention. They've been the thorn in the side. But now what we've seen over the last few weeks here, this is what makes Boston Yankee games must-see games, because it's this kind of theatrics. It's this kind of, the storyline writes itself. You know what I mean? And it's wild to me to see, it seems like it was within a 2.5 week period where we have dismissed the Boston Red Sox, and then the next thing you know, boom, they're back in the hunt. And Tim, you're absolutely right, man. Especially this time of year, coming out of All-Star break, coming out of the trade deadline, a lot of these teams have new faces on them, new coats of paint, if you will. But it's going to be real interesting. The American League is the tough call here, and I think a lot of people are pointing, or had been pointing, at the Dodgers for the National League. But I mean, listen, the Dodgers are experiencing their own pains right now, and I can't be mad about it, if I can be honest. I find it funny. You know what I mean? Because when the Skubal trade happened, they're like, oh, the Dodgers just won themselves a World Series. And now I'm not as convinced. They're going to be in the thick of it, make no mistake about it. But I don't think they're the heavy favorite that they once were.
Well, like real quick, like I said, they're a little bit older and brittle now. They ain't the young, go at it team now. There's more veterans than young guys and all that, so they're not as they're hurt. They're getting beat up and all that. But go ahead, Eric.
Oh, I was just going to chime in there, Jason, because you mentioned the Red Sox and the Yankees and Red Sox. They've only got 4 games at the end of this month, end of August, starting on the 28th through the 30th. That's the last games they play this year. And then late in the season, that last month of September, those last games I think could really come down to who actually takes this division in the East. Because you got 4 games. The Yankees have 4 games against Tampa and then finish with 3 games versus Baltimore. Those are all in-division games. I just wanted to point that out. So 4 games left between that, Yankees and Boston. So,
okay.
So yeah, that's going to come down to the wire there and that aspect of it. But don't count our Detroit team. I mean, they're not taking the American League. You know what I mean? So like we already know that they're too damn far back because Tampa Bay is running away with this thing. I think they're 11 games up from Detroit. I think at this point, it might even be higher than that. When the last time I checked, like they're running away with this thing right now. They're 3.5 games up from anybody else catching them, but there's a lot of baseball left to be played. And it's going to get interesting. I wouldn't count out, New York, Boston, any of those teams. Like those, like you said, Eric, New York's going to get hot here pretty soon, and it's bound to happen. You're going to get those guys. Judge is going to come back. Everybody's going to come back at the right time, and it just comes down to who gets hot at the right time, and that's all that matters in baseball. And if you can carry that through the postseason, you got a good chance of making it to the World Series. But we all know, like right now, the American League is kind of soft compared to the National League, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like the National League has probably the best teams in it currently. We were talking the Dodgers. The Brewers are up there right now. They've been playing super hot this year, which is so odd to say because that's not something we usually talk about, and we haven't even brought their names up a lot this year, but they are sitting atop of the National League right now. And, it's going to be hard to come down to, but I put my money on the Dodgers last week. Not my money because I don't bet any money. But I put my thought. I think the Dodgers are going to run away with this thing again. Eric is totally against me. Our Eric. I mean, it's fucking confusing me. We have two Erics on the show. It's fucking wild. It's throwing my brain right now. But yeah, he doesn't think the Dodgers are going to do it because he says they're old and brittle. At the same time, I think sometimes that veteran experience carries you through postseason games, and you need that. We saw that with the Tigers last year. That you have a lot of youth on a team, they don't carry through. We saw it with the Pistons this year. You got a lot of youth on a team, doesn't carry you very deep. You always want to, look at those veteran teams. I know, Eric, you said that you were a Knicks fan as well. You get some veteran, experience on those teams. It could carry you pretty damn far. And they went on and won a championship this year, even though like Detroit did own them through the regular season, but that don't mean shit once the postseason starts. You know what I mean? Like that team was unstoppable throughout the postseason. But yeah, I got my money on the Dodgers winning this whole thing this year, and I could be wrong. You know what I mean? Maybe it could be an American League team. It's got to get hot at the right time.
I didn't even know Detroit had a basketball team.
Oh, come on now. Come on now.
They have a dub. Wait, are you talking WNBA?
We are about to have one of those, though. They are starting a WNBA team here pretty soon, which is fucking wild because that league, the WNBA has been getting exciting. We haven't talked really anything about it on the show at all like that, but it has been getting exciting. Caitlin Clark is a fucking beast. That's all I got to say. And they brought a lot of eyes to that league, but it still doesn't fucking make money. So it's weird that they're expanding the league when it's not making money.
It should be the WWBA, World Wrestling Basketball Association. That's what it should be coming down to right now.
Because they're beating the shit out of Caitlin Clark. Like that shit's getting wild. But yeah, MLB, I mean, it's been crazy. Tigers are hot right now. That's what we're excited about. You said the Yankees are going to get hot here pretty soon. I could see it 100%. You get guys back from injury, they're gonna start rolling. You know what I mean? So I think the American League is so tight and still so wide open. We don't know who's going to end up on top of that thing when it comes down to actually making it to a World Series, because this thing has been tight. I mean, we've been watching the Tigers this season sitting at almost the fucking very bottom of the American League, and now they're just a couple games out of leading their division and possibly winning this division. So it just shows you how kind of soft some of these divisions in the American League are. But at the same time, who knows what can happen, because all you got to do is go on a fucking run. But before the show started, I mean, obviously it's pretty apparent right now, if you're watching this live here on YouTube or Riverside.fm, we got a Raiders fan in the building, and this might be our first actual Raiders fan. I don't think we've had a Raiders fan yet. Yeah, and this is going to get interesting because I am a Kansas City fan, as you all know. So we'll see where this goes. I'm not going to hit that button. We're going to, because we know Kansas City is great. It's absolutely great. As we're looking at the the AFC West there, buddy. How you feeling about the Raiders this year? Obviously, the Raiders haven't been doing good the last couple of years, but there's some possibility there this year, and I have to admit that. You know what I mean? You guys got the number 1 overall draft this year. Do you see them starting?
No. Well, let me just first say something about the Chiefs. I did a podcast not too long ago that you'll very much enjoy, and it's got a picture in my thumbnail of me laughing and Patrick Mahomes crying. And it's the downfall of the Kansas City Chiefs, and it all starts this year. You guys could check that out another time. But now, onto my Raiders. I love this division. This has got to be one of the most fun divisions in the NFL. At one point, as you remember, it was like almost, I don't know if it was before Patrick's time or right at the time he came, but it was like every year they were flip-flopping between who was winning the division.
Yeah.
And of course, my team was always out, but it was always, it was the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Broncos were flip-flopping a lot in that mix. So this is one of the greatest. They have some of the greatest battles.
It is. It's one of the toughest divisions in the NFL. I do have to say that.
Now, I said in an earlier podcast too that I picked Fernando Mendoza to start versus Miami. But as training camp has gone on, the way the team looks, the way the team feels, and the video clips you see, Kurt's out there spinning it, and it's at this point I'm like, why rush it? There's no reason to rush him whatsoever. I think the Raiders are doing to Fernando Mendoza what almost all NFL teams should do to their starting quarterback, no matter if you're the first round overall pick, unless you have a prime defense, a big time defense, and a great offensive line, then maybe I can consider that. But for the Raiders, they've had to rebuild this again, but this time they actually got adults in the building who know what they're doing. We've got an actual offensive line coach in Rick Dennison, and he's like one of the masterminds of offensive line coaching. So he's going to get the most out of those guys. I'm super jacked for this week. It's like Tuesday, and I'm ready for Thursday. This is the first time I think in many, many years I've been ready for preseason football. And the reason has zero to do with the starters. I don't care about any really of the starters. You've got guys like Fernando that I want to see, like we've been talking about. The backup running back, Mike Washington from Arkansas. I cannot wait to see him run after Genty because he reminds me of McFadden. They got a guy in the 6th round named Malik Benson. I don't know if you've heard of him yet, from Oregon, who just flies down the field, but he's also out jumping players, making all kinds of catches. So he's out there balling. They got a guy from Cal. I always butcher his name up, so let me read this.
Oh, I'm horrible with names. So.
Hezekiah. I call him Hezi. Hezekiah Massis. Long, rangy, and he's turned heads in training camp big time. The Raiders got the steal of the draft, if you guys didn't know that. And I'm going to tell you who the steal of the draft is. But let me talk about the offensive line real quick. There's a guy that I want to see on the offensive line because I love the trenches like a lot of people. But Trey Zune, I think he's the 3rd. Trey Zune from Texas A&M. The guy can play all over the place. Right now, he's the backup right tackle. That's the Raiders' weakest link. So I cannot wait to see him ball out, and I hope he takes over for DJ Glaze. I mean, if he's blocking Chiefs players, it can't be that hard. So, and then, there's a lot of roster battles all over the field. But now I will tell you who the steal of the NFL draft is. And that's Jermod McCoy to the Raiders from Tennessee. And the reason is he was a top 10 pick, but because of his knee injury and the knee issues, he fell to the Raiders in the 4th round, and they were able to snatch him up. So to me, that's a steal, and he's playing this Thursday. So that's another reason why I am super excited for preseason, and Raider Nation is super jacked for preseason. So
all right. Eric,
I cannot wait.
I know you probably got something to fill in here because last week you were talking about Kirk Cousins starting. You don't have nothing to fill in? Okay.
No.
All right. So I'll fill in. So obviously, the Raiders, they look like they're on the right path. New hires this year, coaching staff, everything else, a really good draft overall. I think, draft grades, they did very, very well. But they are in that stacked division. I mean, you're looking at it, the Chiefs, they kind of had a little bit of a slump last year, but I think they're going to be on the come up this year. You know what I mean? They're looking pretty solid so far. Patrick Mahomes is already back out there slinging the ball, which is way faster than anybody thought he would. Maybe it's a bad thing. Eric keeps saying he's going to tear his other ACL in week 3, so we'll have to wait to see how that happens. I got to fight this fucker every week on being a Chiefs fan, and it's hard being here. You know what I mean? Plus, they lost a few key defensive pieces, but the other two teams in this division, I mean, you're looking at the Chargers. They were solid last year, and I think they're only going to get better. And then you're also looking at Denver, who, if Bo Nix didn't get hurt, I think would have been in the Super Bowl last year, to be honest. You know what I mean? I think they very well could have won the Super Bowl last year. So you're in a stacked ass division out there. Like, how do you feel the Raiders are going to fare in that division this year? Or do you think it's going to take a couple years for them to really build this thing?
Yeah, and I agree with you. Just breaking down a couple things you said there. Patrick Mahomes, what are they doing in practice that he's getting hit and knocked over by his own players?
Yeah, that's dumb.
That's crazy. Yeah. I already said the downfall of the Chiefs, and Bo Nix doesn't scare me at all. Who knows what that ankle is going to be like? I don't know if you saw the picture of his ankle. I don't know if it was like before training camp even. I think it was swollen like crazy. So he doesn't scare me. Their defense is what really is legit and gets people going about their defense and stuff like that. As far as the Chargers, it's like you look at your clock and your watch and your calendar and say, when are they going to choke? So that's just how it is. They're going to do it before the playoffs, so they're going to do it in the playoffs. So who knows what they're going to do? I think they're aging at the defensive spots, to be honest with you. You can run the hell out of the ball, and I will bet money this year on it that the Raiders will run the ball heavily against the Chargers. And I can't wait for that week 1 matchup. Or that's not week 1. I think that's like week 2 or 3. It's right up there in those first 4 games. But this division, I think for the Raiders, I had projected originally 6 to 8 wins this year for the Raiders. But it's not about how many wins for me and for a lot of Raider Nation. We want to see trending in the right direction. We want to see a team come out of the locker room ready to play. They're competing. They're flying around. They're actually making tackles. They're doing things that they need to be doing as a real football team. And they look like it instead of looking like some 2A high school team or something like that.
Which has been the history over the past, 5, 6, 7 years. It's been rough, but at the same time, like, we can understand that because, I tell you, I'm a Chiefs fan, but that's just my AFC team. Like, we're all diehard Lions fans here. So, like, we understand living in mediocrity, for so many years. Shit, had to cough. Sorry. So like I can understand exactly where you're at right now. It just sucks with the Raiders because the Raiders are one of those teams that like it's been through so many rebuilds over the last, 10 years. We should say that, you know what I mean? Plus switching towns. We were all against them leaving Oakland, but I can understand money's money and going to Vegas. You know what I mean? That's a large market. You can make a lot more money in Vegas. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like it's the history of that team from Oakland where, they had the most of their success. And you'll always kind of remember them as the Oakland Raiders. I don't know if you still do or not. You said you spent some time, living in Vegas, which is a badass fucking town, by the way. I love that city. But it's, one of those things that they've been through so many rebuilds. Is this the rebuild that's going to stick?
I believe so. I believe they have the proper office in place. You got a guy like Tom Brady that's helping lead the way up there. You've got, the scouting department's upgraded hugely under John Spytek, the GM, and then it just trickles down. You've got a coaching staff that actually knows how to coach football. They coach fundamentals. They know play calling. Now it's just do it. Let's go out there and actually do this and see what we got. I'll know better Thursday night when I do my show after that game, that preseason game, and we talk about how they look out there. I mean, they've got a practice tonight in Allegiant Stadium, so we're going to see clips from that as well, I'm super excited about. But yeah, I think they definitely have the pieces in place for this year to succeed. I don't know how that's going to translate into wins. I'm saying 2 to 3 years. That's where I think I'm leaning with
That's
keeping
pretty fair.
with keeping the staff in place. That's the biggest key for the Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you're going to be needing to re-sign some of these players. So you think that ability's there? Obviously, I think Vegas is one of those states that, or I mean, Nevada doesn't have state income taxes, so it's easier to keep players because you don't have to offer them as much. So they got that benefit there, and that was another benefit of them moving to Vegas was that, you know what I mean? And that's why I think you're starting to see pro sports teams pop up there. Pretty soon, we're going to see the Athletics there. So like they'll be able to attract a lot of talent. We saw how the Golden Knights did once they won there. I mean, multiple Stanley Cup trips already, and they've won it. You know what I mean? So you can attract some talent based on that. But so you're saying 2 to 3 years. I think that's pretty respectable, especially in that division that is so tough because I mean, obviously whether the Chiefs are doing, I know Scott's tearing me up in the chats. He's been doing it all show already. It doesn't matter if we're on Facebook or YouTube. He's found us on YouTube. He's still beating me up. That's what he does. But in that division, it is tough. So being able to say 2 to 3 years, I think that's pretty respectful because some of these teams are going to start falling off at that point in time. We'll have to see who comes out in the lead. At the same time, when we started before we started the show, you said you lived in Minnesota. And you hated everything about Minnesota, especially the Vikings. We can get behind you on there because we, like I said, are diehard Detroit Lions fans. I don't know how much you follow the Lions. I'm sure most people do. And you know a little bit about them. That's the team that we're excited about this year. But at the same time, it's a little rough because I've been getting reports out of training camp that currently our starting center for this season is out for 8 to 10 weeks. Isaiah Pacheco, who Scott used to play for the Chiefs. I'll put my money in the thing here pretty soon. Is out with an MCL sprain. And then DJ Reed just got pulled off the field with some type of injury. I haven't heard what the injury is yet, but we're looking like we're going down the road of injury bug once again. And it's getting kind of scary for our Lions already. And I don't know if there's something we should really worry about right now, or is it something that is just part of playing football? I'm not sure because these last 3 seasons have been rough with injuries. Eric, give me your thoughts on this, man, because you're playing on your phone and not paying attention.
I was seeing if there was anything on DJ Reed, so
Good point.
so fuck off. But yeah, it's just not good to see before the season starts that our starting center that we went out and got from Carolina that is out for 10 8 to 10 weeks. So does that open the door for Frank Ragnow to come back? Does that give him a call like, hey, we can use you for the beginning of the season, and
If he's healthy.
and come coach up this young guy that we can definitely use some experience from. And but Pacheco's had leg injuries before, so I don't like that, but we'll see how it goes. I already heard Coach Dan Campbell said he'll be probably start or still probably be there for the first opener this year, so that's good to see. So just let him sit for the preseason. He's proven himself in this league, being in Kansas City, but they're not that hard to tackle according to Eric.
Shut the
So,
fuck up.
but I don't know. It's not good to see, but that's what comes with the game. So you're going to see what happens. You got to make it through there, and you got to hopefully. I think you call for Ragnow. I think you call him, see what's going on. What he had hurt last year is probably already healed up. So I think he could pass his physical and come play for the first half of the year, if not longer.
It's a good point. Good point. So, other Eric, your thoughts on the Lions so far?
Well, I was telling Eric there before the show started that I had in our podcast we do a camping series, and it's called the camping series, and we talk about each division leading up to camp each week. And I picked the Lions to win the division. I said prior to this injury, I still think it. I don't care. I'm going with my gut here. I still think the Lions take the division. I think they figure out that offensive line sooner than later, and they go on a run and they take it. I'm just not scared of everybody else in the division. really, Packers, they don't scare me. Who knows what's going on with Josh Jacobs and the rest of the league, the rest of the team there, and Jordan Love. I'm not scared of them at all. I'm not scared of the Vikings, not one bit. So,
What about
Yeah,
the Bears?
oh, jeez. I didn't even buy Madden this year because of the cover. I'm a graphics designer too, so I make my own covers for Madden a lot of times. So I was like,
that. I really appreciate
I'm not with this. I'm good. Thank you guys, but nah, I'm totally. I was a huge Barry Sanders fan. Barry Sanders fan, and I was a huge Calvin Johnson fan. I've always liked them. They've always been like the Raiders of with the losing and just the heartbreak and so forth and so on, with not having a quarterback, but you got a top receiver. And like when we had Randy Moss, everybody complained about him and his stuff, but look at his quarterbacks. He had nobody. He had a bunch of bums throwing to him. So it's like that's the same way I felt about the Lions at one point. So that's my feeling. Lions are taking it. They're gonna, and I think they may sneak in a little bit, pretty deeper into the playoffs than what most people will think too. Once that offensive line gets going.
I'm hoping they go all the way this year. And I think there's that possibility, you know what I mean? Like there's always that possibility if you get hot at the right time. But yeah, like you said, like kind of like the Raiders, you know what I mean? We went through a lot of years of mediocrity. Even when we had good players. I mean, we had Matthew Stafford for so many years, and he was even teamed up with Kelvin Johnson, with Ndamukong Suh on that thing. Like we had superstars on this team, but they just couldn't pull it all together because at those points of times, maybe we didn't have an offensive line. You know what I mean? There's something just missing. It's putting all these pieces together to be able to make all this shit happen. And it just hasn't happened for the Lions yet. And unfortunately, I feel like the Lions have had all those pieces over the last like 3 seasons. The injuries have stacked up to the point where they've lost those pieces and had to go try to make playoff runs without them, or miss playoff runs with a winning record last year. Like this division, I mean, we were talking about the AFC West being tough. I honestly think the NFC North is probably the toughest division in football currently right now. I mean, you had 4 teams in it last year. None of them had a losing record. Only 2 of them made the playoffs. You know what I mean? There wasn't a single losing record in this division last year, and only room for 2 of them up there. Now, one of them happened to be Chicago, and I feel your animosity towards Chicago there at the same time. I don't even like to talk about them. That seems to be the team that we're kind of setting up a pretty big rivalry right now because of fuck Ben Johnson. You know, I had to add the fuck in there to begin him because that fucker went to a division rival. Like, you don't do that. Like, come on now. Like, I like Ben Johnson, but don't go to a fucking division rival.
I wasn't even going to say his name. It's like Voldemort. You just don't say his name because he spurred us because we were going to bring him in and have a meeting. And this is before Pete Carroll. We thought we were going to get him. And then he doesn't come to us. He goes to the Bears. Obviously, they had a quarterback. And we weren't in a position to get a quarterback that year because we ended up getting Ashton Genty at the 6th pick. So, yeah, F that guy. I hope they lose.
Yeah, but the one thing the Lions, going back to the whole Calvin Johnson mess, everything, Stafford never had a line at all. Like if you look at it, we had good defense, we had good, running backs, we had good receivers, good quarterback. We never had a line. He never had a line to protect him, and you can see what he can do when he had a line to protect him. If you'd have put this offensive line or the line we had about 2 years ago with that team, I would put money on it. They would make it to the Super Bowl at least, if not win it. When you had all those superstars and all that, but that's not how it works.
Nope, it never kind of works out that way. But yeah, it's the injuries, man. Like they're already peeking their heads out this season. Mm-hmm. It's pissing me off already. It's like, at what point do you go, should we practice these guys? Or just let them sit till the beginning of the season. I mean, they did that kind of last year where they didn't start any players throughout preseason. And speaking of preseason, the Lions also have their first preseason game this Thursday night, which I'm really looking forward to, so we can kind of see how some of these rookies are doing and shit like that. They'll be playing the Bengals. I think it's 7 p.m. on Thursday is what I wrote down. So it'll be exciting there, but these injuries, like I'm fucking irritated with these injuries. It seems to be the ongoing storyline of the Detroit Lions over the last few seasons. Scott had made a mention in there. He was actually capping on you a little bit here, Eric, this time, because he said, why does every time there gets an injury that you want to bring back some retired guy, he's like, next thing you know, Gibbs is going to be hurt and you'll be fucking calling for Barry to come back. And maybe I'm all about that because Barry still looks like
Ragnow try to come back last year?
He did.
Like,
he
why?
did.
I don't know why he's trying to dog me on that one.
Hey, at least he's throwing his heat at you this week and not me. So
that was.
I mean, it's been all me throughout the thing. So like,
not even close to relevant.
I'm just trying to throw some of that heat on you because he's been beating me up the entire time. But yeah, no, like Scott, like you brought up, I think they're going to be fine. They have a lot of depth on that offensive line this year. So even without Cade, they're like, they've done well with picking up free agents and stuff like that. I think they're going to be fine without having to bring Ragnow back either way. There's been some strong candidates to even steal some of those starting spots throughout training camp. So it's going to be okay. So yeah, so Chicago losing Kobe Durant makes strong.
Guys, I got to get running.
All right,
so
Eric,
that's my time. But I do want to say this. My prediction. Okay, Raiders versus Giants in the Super Bowl in 2 years.
I could see that. The Giants were one of my.
I'd like that.
My biggest.
My wife's a Giants fan, so and I love what they did this offseason. I love what they got going on with the young talent. As long as their running back has a head still.
That's a questionable thing. No, they were one of my favorite draft classes this year. Like they did an awesome job in the draft this year. So I can get behind that. But I appreciate it. You want to tell everybody where they can find you real quick before you jump off?
Yeah, again, you can find me all over social medias. I'm on X, Twitter, that's the same thing. X, Instagram, TikTok. That's the other one. TikTok.
Yes, TikTok.
Oh man. Hey, I'm never gonna get that X and Twitter thing going. So and then I'm over on I'm on my YouTube channel at Clueless Sports Dad, sports with a Z at the end. You can find me there. Dropped a show this afternoon already. Yeah. Preview for this game coming up Thursday. Thanks for having me on, guys. It was great.
All right, thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate you. And I'll stay in touch. We'll get you on again.
Absolutely.
All right, later. All right, so back to the Detroit Lions. Jason, these injuries that have been coming out of training camp, how you feeling about them?
I mean, this seems like it's a reoccurring thing with the Detroit Lions. We get all jacked up, especially when we're coming to the week of the first actual on-field presentation of what part of this team is going to look at. The next thing you know, you start talking about injuries, and it's like, Jesus Christ. At what point? Well, I mean, what do we got to do? Whose soul do we got to sell to have a healthy team going into the season? Like, it seems like every year there's something, and it's something significant enough to where we're sitting here. If this guy doesn't come back by this time, it's going to be an issue. And we all sat here. Eric just sat here. He's like, this is the guy who is a Raiders fan. This is the guy who maybe is not as dialed into the Detroit side of things as we are. But he's over here saying the Lions are going to win the NFC North. All depending on who you talk to, that's going to vary. It's either going to be the Bears or it's going to be, in some cases, the Packers. Not a lot of talk about the Vikings, and the Lions are the big question mark. Is there concern? Yes, there is. Yes, there is. But at the same time, I feel like it's this kind of thing that separates good teams from great teams. The Detroit Lions have a good team, but they have the potential to be a great team. Am I concerned? Yeah. Right now, like I'm not going to let it dictate how I'm looking at the season yet. Preseason's a funny thing. Dan Campbell came out the other day and said we're not planning on starting our starters, or the majority of them. My thing is, how do you not get them on the field? Jared Goff, like all of them, at least on that last preseason game, to get your body reacclimated to real-time football, not training camp, not the scrimmages and shit like this, like real full contact game environment. I feel like not having your starters on there at some point during these preseason games could be a mistake. That's my biggest thing right now. I don't know how you guys feel about that announcement, but when I heard that, I was like, I don't know if that's I don't know. Obviously, I don't know, but I just feel like, and Tim, you can back me up. Like there's being in shape, and then like for us, there's like ring shape. You know what I mean? Like it's two different things. I've got to believe, and I've never played professional football or anything like that, but I've got to believe that a lot of that, especially with football, because there is an off season, whereas you and I were not afforded that in our previous industry. I've got to believe, man, like there's something to being in shape and being football ready. So that's my biggest thing going into like this week. What are the Bengals? They're playing the Bengals on Thursday. The Bengals are a team that's looking to make a statement. And if you can make a statement against the Detroit Lions, and even though one's AFC, one's NFC, there's a lot of attention on the Detroit Lions from the national media. And if the Bengals can do something that garners some sort of headlines and makes people pay attention, that's my concern right there.
No, 100%. I'm right there with you. I think like last year, we didn't see a lot of starters in the preseason. And I think it hurt them through the first few games of that season. Even though they had a successful first few games of that season, it was slow starting. You know what I mean? Because it does take a little bit of time to get into that football shape. But at the same time, I understand his hesitancy because of the injuries over the last few seasons. So you don't want to send one of your starters out there to get injured in a preseason game to be like, fuck, the season's gone now because we put them out there in this worthless game. I mean, they've already cut the preseason down pretty short. We don't get to see as many games as we used to. So like it's hard to say what to do, what's the right call. I think Scott made a point that he said you'll probably see more starters next week than what Dan said. I think that would be smart for at least a couple drives to kind of get them acclimated. You know what I mean? That's typically what we've always seen in the past, even when they had a lot of starters. You run them out there for a few drives, let them do their thing, and then you throw in all your third stringers and the dudes that are just trying to make the team. You know what I mean? To kind of see what they can do. It kind of gives you the coaches an idea who's going to ball out and who's going to play their asses off to try to make this team, because eventually that will have to cut these rosters down and to get to that 53-man roster. And they need to see who's going to do that. But going back to the point, you said you weren't super worried about it yet. And like we brought up the injury on the offensive line. That's not the one that really worries me the most, because there's a lot of depth on this offensive line this year. Like they've done pretty well at stacking that offensive line for these type of things. The things that bother me, and I'll ask you this here in a second, Eric, is that secondary, DJ Reed. If he goes out, they are already so soft in that position. And Terrion Arnold leaving, you know what I mean, or not leaving. Like he got fired. He got kicked out to the road because of his stupid shit. But that makes him even softer. So now you're taking that guy who's supposed to be the number one cornerback, and all of a sudden he might be injured. Now, Pacheco, you brought up, he'll probably be back at the beginning of the season. Not a big deal. We're not worried about that. It's DJ Reed is the one that worries the most. Like, Eric, do you agree that that secondary with the Lions is where we need to be worried the most right now?
Well, yeah, that's definitely their weak point. You don't know what's going on with Kirby. You don't know when you're going to get Brian Branch back and all that. And that's going to be the biggest weak point of them this year. You know, and then if DJ Reed goes out, and you got who's out there? Who's out there? Someone that you can sign? You don't know. And it's hopefully it's nothing too major. Hopefully it was just, something didn't feel right, and they went to the, trainer's room, and it'll be okay. Even if he's got to miss a preseason game or two of them, I'd rather have him ready for the start of the season than in the preseason.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point. But yeah, I think that is a part of this team that worries us the most. And the scary part is this is the part of the team that worried us the most last year. You know what I mean? It was that secondary. It's where they got beat up the most. I mean, that's where they had the most injuries last year. Now, Jason, you could probably agree with that. Like, that secondary is something that I thought they would have tried to heavily build off or build on this off season, which they didn't seem to do. You know what I mean? Like they built that offensive line and they added depth pieces to that. So like that's why I'm not worried about that part. But this secondary, which was the gleaming hole in that defense last year, like they couldn't stop the long ball if they tried. Like it was ridiculous. Once Kirby got hurt, it was done for. And even if you have the best offense in the league, if you can't stop the other team from fucking scoring, you're not going to win games. Like, do you agree with that, Jason?
Oh yeah. I can agree. I can agree with that 100%. You know, when we look at where's the improvement that needs to, what do we need to do to put this team to the next level? You know, and along those lines, as a sidebar, what do we consider the next level? Because we sat here a couple of years ago and watched this team go to the NFC Championship with all hopes that they were going to the Super Bowl. Since then, you know, they haven't had that same kind of success. And it's like, so what is the next level now? Or do we, as a fan base, do we look at this as a reset? Are we going to be okay with just if they make it to the first round, if they get past the divisional? I mean, what are we going to what are we going to consider a success in terms of this team and in terms of the secondary? I'm with you. There is there's question marks. There's concern. I would like to think that we're not the only ones who see that, and we're not the ones that are in the position to fix it. So, you know, when you look at the coaching staff and the management of the team, like what are we truly focusing on? And I mean, do we really want to take this team to the Super Bowl? And you've got to address the chinks in the armor, for the lack of a better term, and the secondary has been the chink in the armor for this team. So, but yeah, I'm with you. I do agree with you on that, and you know, I'm hopeful that, you know, once this season really starts rolling, we're going to see these diamonds in the rough, or we're going to see, you know, something that's on the field that maybe we didn't anticipate was going to be an impact, a positive impact. You know what I mean? So I think with so much attention and pressure on the Lions to win the NFC North this year, this is one of those things. You know, you take a piece of coal and you put it in pressure. That's what makes it a diamond, right? I mean, that's what the Detroit Lions are right now. They're that lump of coal, and they are being put in the pressure cooker. And can they emerge as a diamond? I think they can. I'm optimistic that they can. It's not like, you know, we're sitting here thinking that Jared Goff is going to be blowing his ACL and by week 3 or anything like that. But
damn it. No, only Patrick Mahomes, Eric said. Like that, that's going to be the guy. No, I'm right there with you. I honestly think this year, I mean, it's Super Bowl or bust. You know what I mean? Like we're at this point. You talked about it like just a few seasons ago. They were in the NFC Championship, come back the next year, make the playoffs, get knocked out by Washington, and then the next year not even make the playoffs. Like you have to. I mean, I'm not going to be happy with anything other than making it. And I'm not saying they need to win the Super Bowl. For Lord, God's sakes, let's just make it to a damn Super Bowl. They have every piece they need to do it, except maybe a little bit of secondary. You know what I mean? But offensively, this is a stacked offensive team. Like you have to be able to really make a run at it. And I don't know why how many people have you get fucking stupid survey phone calls and fucking political fucking like motherfucker, stop calling me. Like my phone's going nuts right now with all shit. And I got to bring up Blazing Dig said, God bless Dylan Dingler. And don't forget to share the live. Rock on. Dylan Dingler's a beast. He's been having an awesome year. But yeah, I think it's Super Bowl or bust. Eric, do you agree? Don't disagree with me. Just fucking agree with me for once.
I don't think you can go that route, man. They didn't make
You
the
have
playoffs. You don't have to. No,
you have to. They
looking at
NFC
this team,
Championship game a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
Think
looking
about
at
it.
this team to that team, it's not even close. It's not even the same. They had a better offensive line. I don't know. There was more spark to the team then than there is now. You know, we had an easier schedule, and we had an easier schedule this year. But I'd love to see them make the Super Bowl. I just don't think they're gonna make it to the Super Bowl. I really don't.
All right, they got to. Scott, you're in the chats right now, man. Like, do you think it's Super Bowl or bust this year? Like, to be honest, Greg says plenty of talent. The OC is good enough, though. I do think he's good enough, and I think we're going to be surprised by him. I think he's a little Ben Johnson-esque, and I think he's going to do really well in the system. I mean, look what he did with Arizona last year with that offense. Now, I know they didn't win a lot because they didn't have the defense to be able to stop these teams, but that team put up a lot of yards last year, and what he did with Jacoby Brissett was fucking wild last year, to be honest. Like, go back and look at those stats of what he was doing with Jacoby Brissett, and I think you'll be impressed by this guy. Now, that team did not have the defense, like, not even close to even, and the Lions don't have a good defense, but, like, Arizona did not have a good defense at all. Like, they couldn't stay in games. Like, that offense was trying their asses off and they just couldn't stay in games. But it was pretty impressive with what he did. So I'm actually excited to see what he can do with an actual offense, you know, that's full of players to the caliber of, you know, a Jared Goff. Scott said if the Lions make the NFC Championship and lose a close game to the Rams, I don't think I'd call the season. I mean, Scott, I'd have to agree with you there. If it's to the Rams, a stacked ass team, because we've been talking about this entire time. I think the Rams are the NFC team to beat this year. I mean, that team is absolutely fucking stacked. So can you highlight that post from Scott there, Jason? I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, that was one, if it comes down to that, I think that would be, it doesn't have to be Super Bowl or bust over a team that completely stacked and is just trying. Yeah, I mean, they paid everything. They're all in this year. So, like, if you lose to them, I get it. Greg said Gibbs is the straw that stirs the whole drink. Got to keep the O-line and D-line healthy. Let Gibbs and St. Brown cook. Yeah. I mean, yeah. And Goff can definitely get it done. I mean, everybody knocks on Goff, but if you really look at Goff's stats over the last few years, he's been one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. Mm-hmm. And that's just, and including under pressure. Like, everybody says he falters under pressure, but he's been one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league under pressure. So he doesn't falter over. He just didn't have the best left tackle there to protect that blind side. Mm-hmm. He's got it now. Let's put it that way. With Panay moving over there, I think we're going to see a different Goff this year. Now, is Goff athletic like we all like to see in the NFL this year? No, Goff doesn't have an athletic bone in his body, but what the fucker can do is throw the ball, and he does it very accurately. He is a true pocket passer. I mean, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play this game was a true pocket passer, and that was Tom Brady. So you can't knock those guys. I think we'll see a resurgence in them eventually, and it might be this year with Detroit, because Jared Goff is bound to win one eventually. He's played in one. He's going to win a Super Bowl. Now, are they going to the Super Bowl? I don't know. Scott brought up the good point with the Rams. Jason, do we even feel good about being in the same conference as the Rams this year?
No, we don't feel good about it at all. I feel like, we sat here, 2-3 weeks ago, and we we're trying to make our Super Bowl predictions, kind of poking fun at it, and as a joke, I said, Carolina and Miami, knowing damn well that's not reality, right? The NFC is the Rams conference to lose. Like, the Rams have put all the pieces in place that is going to make them, at this stage, arguably the strongest team in the NFC. The Detroit Lions are one of those teams that are going to challenge that, and it's not just because of what's happening on the field, but the ties off the field, the storyline, if you will, like it writes itself. But the Rams are the team to beat in the NFC this year. I'm not convinced otherwise at this point. And granted, we haven't even really started doing anything with NFL season. But you look at the other powerhouse teams or considered powerhouse teams in the NFC, your San Francisco 49ers. I think the Giants are going to make some significant noise. I think Carolina is going to make some noise. And I'm not saying that just as a homer or as a, fanboy. Like I really feel like the Panthers showed me a little bit when I was watching that Hall of Fame game the other night with Arizona. And it is going to come down to the Rams. And I feel like, Tim, all depending of how it all shapes up, I have a feeling, looking in my crystal ball, we could very well see a Rams-Lions NFC Championship game this year.
That'd be pretty fucking dope.
If it, aligns appropriately. And if that does, you're going to see arguably the most watched NFC Championship game in NFL history because of the natural storyline.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, we saw that a couple of years ago in the playoffs when they played the Rams and beat the Rams in the playoffs. But this isn't the same Rams team. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
I passed that same question over to Eric. Like, how do you feel like with the Rams?
Well, starting off, Puka Kanua left practice today too. So if they lose their number one wide receiver, because I think he's better than Adams, in my opinion, that's a tough blow right there. And that could hurt them, but I don't think he's going to be gone for long in the season. But if Aaron Donald comes back, which it sounds like it's going to happen, it's the Rams' year. Like that's how I feel. Like they're going to make it to the NFC Championship unless something happens dramatic where a couple players get hurt or they just can't put it together. But I don't see that happening right now. They went all in 2020 to win it, and they won it with Stafford. And now they're doing it again with Myles Garrett. And if Aaron Donald comes back, which it sounds like he's going to, there's not going to be a lot of teams that can compete with that team right there. And if the Lions can put it all together and really, challenge the Rams in the NFC Championship game, that will be one hell of a game, and it's going to be a high scoring game if I had to say, honestly.
No, I can get behind you on that. It would be a very high-scoring team. That's two high-powered offenses, but it's also one hell of a defense if Donald comes back for the Rams. So I don't know. Like and like you said, everything's kind of pointing to him coming back. I know he was in pads and he was practicing the other day with the team. So I'd put my money on the fact that Donald's going to be back with his team this year. And if that's the case, like, you might as well just write them a ticket to the damn Super Bowl, because that defense is going to be the most legit defense in the league, especially that defensive line. Myles Garrett, Aaron Donald, like, you can't write anything better than that. Like, that's going to be crazy. But like Scott said, you highlighted it here a minute ago, it's a long season. Lions just need to focus on winning the division and then go on from there, because we've seen teams. I mean, realistically, we look a couple of years ago, Detroit was leading, in the NFC Championship game at halftime, and they had the better team. Like, on paper, they had the better team, and they lost that game. We went into the season after that. Detroit had the better team than Washington. They should have just rolled over Washington. They lost that game. So anybody can lose at any time. The old saying, any given Sunday, you know what I mean? Shit can happen. So you never really know. We know who the favorite is currently. If Aaron Donald goes on, right now, if you're going to get your bets in, I would bet right now, because the odds are going to get even worse, if Aaron Donald signs on. So, like, if you want to win a little bit of money, bet on the Rams right now, to be honest, or bet on the wild card, bet on Carolina. Jason, get behind that, because you never know. You never really know. It's not going to be Carolina, Jason. Like, you even said that yourself. But they are moving in the right direction. Don't look sad. Don't look sad. See the sad face. Yeah, there it is. There's the sad face. But yeah, I don't see that happening. But yeah, it's a long season. We'll have to see what happens. But yeah, I'm excited for the Lions this Thursday night at 7 p.m. We get our first look at them. I'll be tuned in watching. Football is back. And I'm excited about it, because
did you order your annual subscription to Fubo?
Not yet. Not yet. There's a lot of shit going on right now. And money wise, I'm kind of like, yeah, there's a lot of shit going on, but I will be ordering it here pretty soon. Because I need to get it. If I don't get it before preseason, I will have it before regular. But I can probably find a way to watch it regardless. So I will be watching this week, and I'm excited about it because I've been waiting a long time for football to be back, and it is finally back. But moving on from football, Jason, you know what time it is. That
It's that time of the show. It'll be sweet and short. Here's Tim Sherry with the 2-man don't score.
This is Tim's 2 Minutes Golf Report, brought to you by the Sports Show Podcast on the PFC Entertainment Network. That's my that wasn't a very good radio voice. I apologize, but this past weekend we had the Wyndham Championship with Brennan winning this thing at 2,200. In second place, we had Hosler. Third place, James. Fourth place, you. Fifth place, we had a two-way tie with Tom Kim and Hall. And then we finished this thing out with a five-way tie at seventh with Wallace, Novak, Matsuyamu, Norin, and Smalley. This coming up week, we have the FedEx St. Jude Championship, which is another major event that we're looking forward to, that we're going to be able to see all the stars playing. This season is coming up to start to wrap up right now, so we'll have to wait and see who comes out on top of this thing as the FedEx champ by the end of this season. My money is not on Scotty because he hasn't been doing that hot this year. He's been a lot of top 5 finishes, but he just hasn't been able to pull out the wins. So who's going to win the FedEx Cup this year? I'm not really sure. Is it going to be a Fleetwood, resurgent to win this thing, or is it going to be somebody else completely? I got Cam Young. That's who I'm putting my money on, the hammer. Got to get behind the hammer. But yeah, that's who I got. But that was Tim's 2 Minutes Golf Report.
Oh, yeah, man. Wait a minute. I have a question.
Okay.
I saw a report this morning that the live championship game, or however they're doing this, something was supposed to be held in Detroit and it was canceled.
Yes.
So they're saying that I don't remember where they're at before they were supposed to come to Detroit, but apparently that is on tap to be the last live tournament. Am I understanding that right?
Kind of. I'm kind of hearing rumors now that they might have found funding for next year. Now, what does that look like? I'm not 100% sure. Now, the funding is going to be a lot less money. So can they retain the golfers that they have now? Because I'm seeing that next year they're on tap to do maybe just 10 events with only like maybe $10 million purses, if that, per event. So you might not attract some of these big names that are playing there right now. Like some of them might stay on, but they've strictly reduced the amount of winnings in this league. And I think they're going to start losing players. But yes, they did cancel that event because, the Saudis did back out of this thing. So the funding isn't there currently. But what I'm hearing is they may have found funding to at least do 10 events next year. What does that look like? I don't know, because is Bryson going to stay on if, the prize pots aren't that high? I don't know. Does he just go straight YouTube? Now, he hasn't been playing the best golf, and it could be the fact that, Liv hasn't had the schedule that the PGA has, so he hasn't been playing as much competitive golf as he has in the past, so he's starting to slouch a little bit. Same thing with Rahm, you know what I mean? Rahm's done really well in the majors this year. Is he going to stay with Liv Golf? I'm not sure, because right now their funding is a lot weaker than what the PGA's funding is. So I dare to say that a lot of these guys are probably going to make their way back to the PGA Tour. But I think the PGA Tour, just like they did this year, is going to make it very hard for these guys to come back. A kind of like, you guys shouldn't have fucking left and punishment type thing, which I think is stupid. You know what I mean? I think they should just let some of these names back in. The PGA kind of fucked up, which caused these guys to leave. And I think they need to change some rules to attract some of these names back, because it would be nice to see some of these names back competitively on the PGA Tour. So yeah, like that event being canceled sucks. Like I thought about trying to possibly go to it because the Live Golf events look fun. But yeah, it's not looking good for Live at this point, even if they get the funding. because some of those big names are not going to be attracted to those purses. Unfortunately, it's just not realistic for them to only play 10 events a year and only make a little bit of money when they can go back to the PGA and have an opportunity at a lot more money. I don't know if that answers your questions fully.
No, for sure it does.
Yeah.
I had just seen that. And I was like, oh, okay, interesting.
Well, I do got a question for Jason. This kind of steps back to the beginning of the show, though, and I just seen something on Facebook. But is there a good possibility we could see a White Sox and Cubs World Series this year?
It's possible.
Because I've just seen how, Chicago has the second seed pretty much locked down still, and the Cubs are playing very well. I'm like, that could be a very, very big possibility, and that would be something crazy if that were to happen.
The Chicago Cubs they're one of those teams that's making moves, but nobody's paying attention to it. If the playoffs were to start here tonight, the Cubs would be a wild card team. And, we've documented what the White Sox have been doing this year. Right now, they're, if they were to start right now, they would win the AL Central. So is it likely? I would give it probably a 35% chance that we would see an all Chicago World Series, but it is possible. It is very possible. Me personally, I think that would be phenomenal.
It would be something.
Dude, if that was to happen, I would do everything I could to spend that week and a half at least in the city. Like the halfway point, you know what I mean, in the middle of the city. So when you have to go to Wrigley, you're up the road this way, or if you're going to First Rate Field, whatever the fuck they're calling their stadium now, they change its names every other year. It seems like, but man, what a scene that would be. Yeah, I would. It is possible. Yes, it is possible.
That would be a wild one for sure.
Well, it's just like there could be Jacksonville and Tampa Bay Super Bowl.
I mean, the Rams would be playing in their home stadium if they go to the Super Bowl this year.
I'll just count two teams in the same state, but yeah. No, I seen that stat and I'm like, wow, that would be nuts if that were to happen.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, it really 100%, 100%. But that was Tim's 2-minute golf report. Brought to you by the Sports World Podcast on the PFC Entertainment Network with a little bit of baseball mixed in, and I do apologize. Scott brought up a good point. He said we're not going to talk about the Pistons have to play the home opener at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. It's kind of a shot to the Pistons there to put them out on a Tuesday at 3 p.m. Like one of the best teams of basketball. You're going to stuff them at 3 p.m. It's a weird flex there. And Scott, maybe I will go to the Ally. Maybe the PGA can give us press passes to the Ally. Come on, PGA. Let's do this. Give me some press passes to the Ally this year. And that would be cool. Other than that, Jason, I got a couple programming notes this week. Do you got a thing for me? Yes, this next coming week, August 18th at 6:45 p.m. Eastern at the PFC Entertainment Network on YouTube and Facebook. We got Michigan Sports and Entertainment coming back on the show. So we are excited about that one. These guys were awesome last time they were on. So it's going to be another hell of a good show, and I'm excited to have them back. And then on top of that, we are less than 200 followers, which I will be putting a post about this on TikTok later tonight. Less than 200 followers away from finally giving away that damn Kirby Joseph autograph mini helmet. Like, I am ready to give that damn thing away. So please follow us on TikTok, and you can win that autographed and authenticated Kirby Joseph mini helmet. For God's sakes, I want to give that thing away. We are so close. Jason, do you have any programming notes?
Well, this was, we're going to be dropping new episodes. Theoretically, hopefully, we're going to be dropping a new episode of Ball Game this week with Vinny. Let me say as a sidebar, Vinny has been, Tim, one of the greatest things about this whole podcasting thing is the connections that we've made.
Yes.
And you come across people from all walks of life. Vinny is salt of the earth. You know what I mean?
Love it.
he has really he has been a game changer for me this week. And so I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good, brother. Good out. No, Vinny is an amazing person, and I'm glad that this podcast has given us the opportunity to not only meet so many new people, but make great friends out of this thing, whether it's Vinny, whether it's Cody, you know what I mean? We've made so many.
Cody too.
We've made so many people that I would consider family at this point in time, just off of doing this podcast. So like the journey has been wild so far, but the connections that we've made that have truly turned into, you know, parts of our family and friendships have been absolutely phenomenal. And I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world. You know what I mean? It's like, even our connections, you know what I mean? Like Jason, I've known you for fucking almost 20 years now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, we brought Eric into this thing, and I've known Eric for a long time, but like, you've got to know Eric now. You know what I mean? It's just like, we've all become family. And Vinny's one of those people that I know you're super close with, and I'm glad that like I was able to link you guys up, you know what I mean? Because you guys are growing super close. And Ball Game, if you guys haven't caught an episode of Ball Game, go watch that, because like that is entertainment right there. Like between Jason and Vinny just talking straight MLB for a couple hours, like Vinny is fucking amazing, and I'm so glad that he's part of this family now, as part of the Sports Reel and the PFC Entertainment Network family, and even on top of that, just part of our families. I mean, he texted me the other day, and you know, we kind of wrote back and forth for a minute, but like I know you two have grown super close, and I'm glad that he's there for you right now. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm glad that you guys actually got Ball Game off the road or off the ground and started that shit, because it's absolute money, man. Like that show is amazing, and the views are astronomical. Vinny is entertaining as hell, but on top of that, I know he's a great friend to you. And Vinny, love you, brother. And we need to get you back on the main show here pretty soon. Like I'm going to get that back going on, because kind of miss having you on here. But at the same time, you can always catch him, you know, every other week on Ball Game, on whatever day you guys drop it. As soon as you guys get a set day, Vinny, I'm going to book you guys out for some guests, because I got people who want to come on that show, but we need to get a set day for you guys.
So yeah, we're going to be looking at dropping a new episode of Ball Game here this week. We are also relaunching the Pro Wrestling Rewind podcast. Ryan Frostbite Kidwell is joining the PFC family as co-host of that show. That is going to be on Thursday, I believe. It's going to drop on the RSS feeds. This week was to be Fatal 4-Way week. However, we are altering our schedule a little bit. So Fatal 4-Way will be live on ONTV next Friday night. So that's what we got going on right now, outside from, you know, the Sports Reel podcast. So yeah, stay tuned to our socials for the latest information, schedule, anything that's happening under our umbrella. So
rock on. Look forward to all those shows. They are amazing. I still got more of your clips I'm rolling out on the Sports Reel thing for the Ringside Inquirer, just to get that content out there. But yeah, I can't wait for Ball Game. Like I said, guys, look forward to Ball Game. It's an amazing show between you and Vinny. I mean, I put that right up there with like the main show. You know what I mean? That show is fucking amazing. It's entertaining. I love it. Vinny, love you too, brother. I got to get a hold of you and talk to you. It's actually, besides texting, haven't talked to you in a few weeks, but I'll get a hold of you here pretty soon. But Jason, you know what time it is, man. Like, let's roll this thing out. I know you got to work tonight. Oh, and by the way, like, did you think about next week? You might be in studio.
it's looking very promising.
We might get a 3-way in studio next week. Not 3-way. Fucking living up to Eric's fantasies here.
Don't say that.
Like, Eric, don't get anything.
I'm not the one that said it. You said it.
No, I don't want to get you fucking excited. You fucking weirdo.
Said it. You're a Chiefs fan. You're the weirdo.
No, being a Chiefs fan is a smart move. But yeah, Jason might be in studio with us next week. Now, don't get excited. He's not painting his shit or dyeing his beard yet. That's episode
That's not till
100.
October 20.
But yes, we might have him in studio, a few drinks rolling. Next week, we got Michigan Sports and Entertainment. It's going to be a hell of a show. So should be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, we certainly appreciate everybody for their patience, number one, and for joining us here, whether it be live or on the RSS feed on demand. Go out this week. Be awesome to yourselves and to each other. We'll see you next week right here on the Sports Reel podcast on the PFC Entertainment Network.
Let's go, Tigers! Okay. I got